Just checking there. I'm going to mute this one here. Mic check. There we go. So I'm just going to show again the levels from Friday to see how that went. So let me close this here. So real quick here, just to review. These were the levels we set up for Friday. We had that, I'm going to use the 15-minute here. We had that triple tap. Pretty much, I think you were trading that too, Jonah. We were trying to wait for that breakout to happen. Eventually, it tapped that 41.84 level. And it was a bit of a rising wedge, but as the price kind of got to the top, it lost momentum. And the buyers started to take profit. So I think in hindsight, it wasn't quite a triple top, wasn't quite a rising wedge. It was more of a triple tap, 1, 2, 3, and then once it hit that EMA 100 on the 15-minute, that was probably the perfect spot to again take the short. So what we had here, what we mapped out were areas of rotation based on the daily range fibs, so the fib levels for the prior day range or the Thursday range. And that was roughly 0.6018 from the low to the high, all these alerts. And that was also where the EMAs converged. So if we had taken a short from each time it made a top here, that would probably have been the better play. Whereas because of that gap up after hours on the Amazon earnings, some of us thought maybe the market's turning bullish and we'll get a breakout. So, you know, if it broke out, may have been another 10 points. But if we looked at the order book, it was quite stacked there. So just to see that, and then I stopped trading that part. But rest of the day, again, we had a key pivot area 0.786 basically the 0.238 level of the low. And so it pivoted. If you look at the 3-minute, there were about 3 opportunities to take longs, maybe 4 here. And so I took this long here and this long here. And eventually when it broke down this pivot area the 3rd, 4th time, that's when it broke the IB low. That's when it broke prior lows as well here. And so here, if you took it was value area low for the day. It was also IB low. And this was a great short from here. If you took the short from the IB high, even better, 15 points, 20 points. And then since this time, it's formed this nice linear regression line from basically the open at 9 o'clock. So it'll be interesting to see if this continues down and goes down to the support levels for the daily pivots into today and to tomorrow, or whether we break this linear trend and go up for a bit of a retracement now. So I'm going to take off the levels from Friday. Just going to check that you guys can hear me. I'm going to try to take off the levels from Friday here and put on today's chart. So again, I'm using the color coding. Purple is purple is kind of a choppy area where price will test several times, and then the beige is where we expect there to be a wall based on the book and based on these key fib levels for the prior day range and also the prior volume profile. So in the Asia session from here until, let's say, midnight, I usually say that's the Asia session. I think there's going to be a pivot at 41.60, 41.61. Potentially we go up to the IB high here from Friday, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of volume on a Sunday. And then later on we might come down. And retest this, basically where we opened the session at the 41.37. Be interesting to see in the UK Open whether this level holds, but often it will come down to this R1, R2 Camarilla pivots. So these are in blue, these are the Camarilla pivot points. And I'm just gonna kind of zoom out here so I can explain to you, people who are not seeing this for the first time. This is the 15-minute chart now. And so how I did this, maybe I can go by step here, was, I'll take these off, was taking the highs from the prior days. So I'm going to remove these lines here. And just going to remove this set of indicator. So we have two lines here. The one in blue is the prior high, daily high. The one in black is the Friday low. And one way to gauge premium and discount for the day is to draw the fib levels. And likewise, you can either use the same fib and extend it on the opposite, the negative end, or you can take, excuse me, this is the wrong way. You can take this as the one end, this is the 0. So just two fibs, and then from there you get a gauge of relative premium and discount to the prior range. You can also do the same for a volume profile, and the value area low will roughly be the 0.7, and the value area high will be roughly the 0.3, I guess, around here. So if I wanted to put that as well, I don't have them set up on here. Let me see. Not sure that's going to work. So I only have the one for the session, but you can set up the same lines for the value area low and high. And that gives us two ranges to kind of watch out for, the ones in basically that I've highlighted here in the yellow or beige box as the inner range. And then if it expands and goes beyond the prior range, then we will extend to, typically the first extension goes to the 1.272 range, unless there is prior liquidity pool here. And I think we looked to the left around 4106, which just happens to match up with the 1272 from a few months back, is the large liquidity pool. So we'll look at that in a second. On the above here, there aren't really any unfilled imbalances on the 15-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame. We can go to the book later, which I have here. Oops. And take a look at those levels as well. Oh, I guess it's not showing up on the screen. Okay, I'll fix that later. But it's back to trading view. So just using the standard fibs, this is what I'm looking at for the day. You can see right now it's already testing the bottom rotation area. And then it pushed back up, right? It went up to here. So I think what will be interesting for me to get into a long will be if it breaks past this IB low. We can get 8 points here. But in between, it might be you need to do some scalping in this range. And I'm going to fix this purple box so that it's a bit higher. And then if it breaks down below this 0.618, we might get a nice continuation down this way. Just going to draw that with some better lines. So here you might want to take a small short play. If you want to wait for the higher opportunity, then you can wait for this bounce here coming from the top. And then if it breaks past this beige box, then we may see, some continuation to this level. Seems simplistic, but that's basically how the algos will likely trade this range. And given that we're past this 5-minute EMA 100, this is the ribbon for EMA 150 and 20. Right now the support is on this side of it. So we are likely to see this come up to 4160-ish, at least in the next 2 hours. I'm just going to check to see if there's any questions online here. So that's basically where the levels I see them. I'm not sure if you guys see anything different. Below is sort of continuation of this linear pattern here. I'm going to put back this other linear regression. So if you don't see this top part here, this top part of the linear trend break into tomorrow, then we're likely to come down to this range here in this purple box, beige box. Maybe I'll code it another level here. This to me is sort of the target range. If we get a rejection there. Otherwise, we will get, maybe a nice retracement of last week's sell-off after all those options have expired up to this level here potentially. So that's about, if you're using Camarilla pivots, that's Camarilla R4 area, and then on the Camarilla pivots on the bottom, S1, S2, probably S3 is even in play here. So I don't think just S1, but let's put that in the box there. So in a nutshell, those are my levels for tomorrow. And overnight, I think, yeah, we're gonna stay in this little range here. Not sure why the color is so light all of a sudden. Yep, here. And again, if you use a 15-minute chart and you concentrate on the EMA 100 as a ceiling, and you look back, that's sort of where the price has bounced off of several times this week. Maybe it's gone up above it by a couple points, but the last 3 days it's kind of bounced right off. We did have last Monday and Tuesday a mini rally of 70 points, so that kind of pattern may happen again to start the week. Just go sideways, but if you get in early, maybe it's opportunity, and then we may have that continuation. So I think that was one of the questions, is whether or not on a monthly scale we're oversold. Just see someone posting, I think that's Alex. Oh, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'm just trying it out on here, but maybe for the rest of the week when I go live and actually trade, I'll do a better job of setting it up. This is just a mapping exercise. So for the week, for the month, I guess, if we look at the extension from the prior low in October and the prior high in September, and I just kind of push that over here. We're sort of in this expansion area now, but you can see it's not really in the exhaustive stage for that expansion. Potentially we could go down the 40-25 area for at least the expansion of the weekly range. And then if we look further, using the highs, I'm going to use the daily now, and I can going a bit fast, but we use the October range all the way back to October, and I'm just going to use the reverse here. Usually we see at least a 50% retrace of this kind of big move, maybe not all at once. So, we're near that. We're at 40.73 is the halfway point, and that's about 70 points away. So 70 points is basically, enough that can be done in 1 or 2 days, really. And beyond that, if it breaks below 50%, that's, a full retracement is not so common for a yearly range, unless you've had a big rally, which is what we've sort of had here. And I think if you look on the volume profile, everything from 4,200 and above is quite thin. This is where the bulk of the volume has been, 4,200 to 3,800 for the past 18 months. So that's just mapping the whole year range. I'm mostly sticking to day trading for ES. So here are the ranges that I would be focused on taking positions in the yellow areas where we might get bounces. And then in the purple, you might want to be careful. It's going to be choppy, but you can wait for a nice bounce because those bounces will either be a really big one or a really big flush because they're at the key levels. So I know it's kind of funny I have these color boxes, but I'll post them in the levels chat in the Discord, which I'll link if anyone doesn't have that. So let me know if there's any questions. I didn't broadcast it very much, but I posted it on YouTube because I know a lot of folks haven't been able to attend the sessions, so hopefully they can follow up on it later on. You can message us in the Discord room. That's it for now. I think I'll leave this running on the YouTube if I make any trades, and I'll also pull up my NinjaTrader setup, so I'll have an algo running for ES tonight, which is just demo trading. So you can see right there, I'm just gonna blow it up a little bit, maybe even more, the 1 minute. Price came up. I'm not sure if it actually went to the top there yet. No, but it's gonna move up probably to this IB low from Friday. The range is very small right now, so but if it breaks past this value area high, which this looks like it's going to happen, you know, you might have 3-point upside right now. But you do have this large gap below right now, so I think it's good to look at the book map, which I'll put in the link as well to see what's happening on the book. So that's it in a nutshell. That's how I map those few levels. I'm not sure if I missed anything else there, but you can also look at the liquidity to the left. So I think one thing we want to look at is between 40-120 and 40-90. If there are any high time frame imbalances, if you just have the chart and not book data, you can pull back all the way to, I believe it's, oh, that's too far back. Yeah, I believe it's in May here. Should use the 4-hour chart. Yeah. So 4-hour chart we see in May the 5th, there was this big pop, sort of the rally for the spring started around then. I think there were some earnings late part of April, and there was some FOMC news that pulled it down, and then all of a sudden Microsoft and the big guys started to rally. So that's really the base of that spring rally, is the April 25th, March 5th range here. I remember trading around this week. It was really up and down for the whole month, and then after that the market just went up for 30% after that. So that's sort of a key range here. The March lows, I don't think we're going to come down to that quite yet. And obviously we have the rest of the lows from October to December. So this would be a point of balance here. And if you look, I was just trying to map out the liquidity there. We have this large imbalance, but it was tapped a few times. So it'd be interesting to look at the book here between 40.96 and 40.91. Oh, sorry, 4100. I'm gonna add some lines there. And then below that, we really have a big gap down to all these imbalances at 3900, 3980 to 4060. So you might want to do some math on the wider range to see where that brings us. But I think this, as we noted here, the 4070 is a 50% retrace for the whole year since last October. So for me, that would be key area to watch for buyers to come in early. So they may not wait for the 4070 if there's a bounce. That's pretty much it. So that's my map. I'll post it on the Discord, and leave this stream running. Thanks for joining the stream. I see Alberto and Jono on the Discord channel there. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Merdy. I didn't notice there people were watching on the YouTube. Yeah, feel free to post questions on there. We're all trying to learn. And for ES, I found this approach to be reliable because it's such a large average of so many stocks. A lot of times it boils down to these premium discount levels on a very simple Fibonacci level from the prior day, and it always seems to bounce every day on those key levels, and the expansion rarely goes beyond those purple boxes. But there are days where we might have a big surge, so then it's going to be a bit different. Jonah said, I noticed we're back in that chop area, 4150. I remember being around 6 weeks or 2 months grind before the IA bull run. Yeah, I'm going to pull back the chart here. There was a long time where we were stuck in this. I think it was spring. I remember trading with cash accounts and basically paying commissions all day because they wouldn't move. So here was that, I think, early April all the way to mid-May, so 6 weeks where it was stuck here. And it was quite hard to trade daily because the moves were like this, choppy. There were like a few days of surges, and then if you missed that, then you were back in this chop, algo chop. Yeah, I remember losing quite a bit just in commissions and options kind of going nowhere. So that's where I would have, usually I would post plays for iron condors, options expiring, writing options. So if we get stuck in this range again, that's sort of what you could do. You could sell calls that are above 40,250 and sell puts below 44,000, I guess. But that's a bit risky of how the market's been a little bit illiquid recently. I think during this time there was a lot of money coming in and out, and that kept things in pace. And right now the bond market's kind of going crazy. So here we're sort of, there's been a lot of momentum down. So usually you'd need at least a double bottom before it really kind of flattens off. So I'm not sure if this is the beginning of a double bottom, but we'll see how it goes today. Yeah, the grind area. In hindsight, that 4,300 area was quite juicy to short, or even the 44, obviously. And all the big funds were unwinding around here. But the last few days have been we've had these big swings, like 20, 30 point swings. So if we get more of that, that'd be nice to try to capitalize on. 4,100 is a massive options level, Jonah says. Might be a magnet this week. Yeah, there's seems to be some unwinding needed to take place, and then we'll see what happens after that. But once we hit that 4,100 here, 4090, it might bounce. If you looked on the large lot sellers or large lot buyers on Friday and Thursday, there were some really big large lot buyers. I guess they're closing their short positions, but it wasn't a huge rally, and then it just dumped off again. So some people re-entered their shorts. So I'm going to try to load up my other screen here. Window. Yeah, that's it. That worked. So here on this is a test. Basically, there's a large lot. Basically, keep track of the big lots. And on Thursday and Friday, there's been large lot buyers coming in. Basically, at the end of the day, the last 3 days, end of the day. Probably shorts closing their positions. I haven't been tracking the options OI really. So I'm not sure where that registers of a specific price. 4 hours, should be able to see it on here. But both times there were this really huge big bids coming in. I think here was 26, so that would be around here somewhere. I suppose it was this bunch here, 41.50 area. And yeah, 41.57, 55 here with some big buyers. Yeah, 20K imbalance there. Or sorry, 2K imbalance, 4K imbalance. I'm not sure if they're the same. I'm trying to learn this platform. It's relatively new for me, A-test. I think the same large lot bubbles show up in Huan Tower. Basically here you just threshold, it's a threshold of imbalance. So you can set that threshold value, but if it registers an imbalance in the whichever imbalance you're looking at here, I think it's the bid ask for that price, then it just captures that. But I don't think it includes the iceberg. I think the book map would be a bit more informative. Like you said, the icebergs maybe are more meaningful. And then here we have end of day Friday. Not so big imbalances, but we're a lot here at the bottom on the buy side. Just basically imbalances on the book, not specific to. Yeah, you see the large lot. Alex says in the chat he has the NT large lot orders, and yeah, they do line up icebergs. I imagine, right? Because if someone's going to buy such a large size at once at one time frame, at one time of the day, they're not going to dump it all at once. So probably we did see that iceberg come in a few times at the bottom, and we didn't tap that 41.20, which would have been the 1.414 extension of the priority. So it was like they were fronting it from here. So yeah, I haven't really traded specifically to where large lots come in, but I've noticed whenever these large lots do come, we have a huge, a bigger trend reversal. We had this at the top in August as well, but for sellers. So that's it. I'm trying to, I've been testing my algos, which are mostly based on momentum and moving averages and volume. But I'm trying to incorporate these imbalances as well into how it decides to enter and trade. So that's something I'm working on right now, but haven't deployed that yet. So that's basically it. Hopefully you guys are going to have a good day today trading. I'm going to end the recording here, and then I'll hop on to Alex's Think with Bookmat stream on YouTube. He has a lot of data there that's useful in a big community. So definitely join them. I'm going to do some live trading with them this week sometime with some of the members from that group. Okay, thanks guys. Have a good evening.